Cool. I think we're ready to go ahead and get started, guys. Thanks for hopping on the webinar again. 6 sales efficiency tricks that could save you $50K or more per month. My name is Josh Carter. I'm the marketing manager here at Hatch.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pam Torrey. I am the marketing manager at Ingage.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rachel Johnson. I'm the CMO and COO at One Click Contractor.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. What we're going to be covering is we're going to talk about the modern buyer persona, who's actually buying these remodeling exterior siding jobs, and some projections that we have for this year. And we're going to talk about how you can actually set and run more appointments without dealing with the annoying back and forth. I'm really excited to share with you guys some information about how you can optimize that process. We're actually going to talk about appointment warming. That's a really important part that oftentimes gets forgotten in the sales process is appointment warming. And cancellations can just cost you guys so much in travel, cost you so much in that back and forth. So we're going to help you guys eliminate that. So we're also going to talk about how to make you guys 20% more effective on average during and after the sales appointment, specifically with how you run the appointment, as well as with rehash. So we'll be sharing sort of the whole entire sales process from top to bottom and different ways that you can increase efficiencies in that. And on average, it should save you around $50K per month. So really excited today.
So I'm going to get us started. So what does efficiency matter now? So we all know that it's end of February. Places are warming up. We just talked about the weather as we were getting going here today. And we are moving closer and closer to busy season. We also know that hiring reps is time consuming and it is expensive, especially if you have high turnovers in your business. And so kind of with those factors, efficiency matters more than ever. All three of us have customers who are just doing more with less. And you're able to do that when your reps are more efficient. And so we kind of got our heads together. We thought that this was such a timely topic to talk about. So I'm going to now turn the webinar over to Josh. He's going to talk about some modern buying personas.
Yeah, there's actually some interesting stats that we see here. The two main, I guess, buyers that we're seeing in the remodeling space are millennials and baby boomers. We foresee that millennials are going to be, and this is just widely seen as a projection. The first stat is 38% of home buyers are millennials. This is the modern home buyer. And what's interesting about those buyers, and I'm one of them, is the average age of the home is 39 years. So they're purchasing homes that are, honestly, a lot of them are fixer-uppers. Very few of them are full remodels. So they're going to need work done to their home. And we're seeing a high growth in those folks requesting remodeling jobs over the last few months. Just given how low the interest rates are, a lot of folks are wanting to jump in and purchase their first home. And what we're finding is that obviously millennials are super tech savvy here. Stat came out recently that 75% of millennials prefer texting their contractor over talking to them on the phone. So that was an interesting thing. And we're going to talk about how you can incorporate texting in your business and technology in your business to reach these millennials and make your sales process more efficient in the process. And then the baby boomer.
Yeah. So the baby boomers have not gone anywhere. They are renovating homes. They are doing projects on their homes to make them more livable for them. But these are just they're a different customer. They're a different person who's buying homes. They're a different person who's renovating homes. They have more experience with the process. They've often done projects before, or they have done their own home remodeling. And now they're looking to hire somebody to come in because maybe they're physically not able to do it, or they just don't want to. They would prefer to have somebody else do the job for them. So in 2020, we found that 55% of remodeling and repair requests came from baby boomers. So over half of the jobs out there came from baby boomers. 79% of baby boomers own single family homes. So, they're going to have a little bit more square footage they're working on, different kinds of projects, more exterior remodeling happening versus, a millennial who maybe owns a condo where their homeowners association is handling the exteriors. So they're not doing that. And 93% of baby boomers say they use email on a daily basis. So as somebody who works for a tech company, I always like to contradict the idea that baby boomers are not extremely online. They are very online. They are online. They're using social media. They are using email. They're using video chat. These are people who have adapted. And as the child of a baby boomer, my mother spends more time online than I do. And I can say that categorically because I have the screen time reports. So they are online. They are out there. They're using email. They're using internet to communicate.
And so with all of those it doesn't matter if it's a baby boomer or a millennial, as you're kind of starting to connect with that buyer, you need a place to put your data. You need a place to put your stuff. And so as you're connecting with those buyers and you're getting ready to do a job, make sure that that data is all in one place. It's just going to make your sales process so much easier and so much more efficient. And then it's going to enable, one of the things you'll see a theme as we kind of talk about these efficiency tips is technology enables efficiency. And you'll hear us say that over and over and over again in this webinar. So we're going to start with the collection of the data around the who that you're working with. So the screen in front of you is, this is from One Click Contractor. This could be your CRM system, but find a digital system that you can put all your data together, and it's just going to make everything else downstream work so much better.
And I feel like, Rachel, that's one of those like obvious things, but I've seen too many contractors have data in different sources where they're having to cross-reference the two.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And it just makes it, even just in your sales process, going from sales to production, think about if those are two separate systems and there's not a nice handoff, how is your distribution team going to know like what color shingle Mrs. Smith chose? She's not. They're not. There might be a wrong shingle color that gets delivered. So the number one thing that we want to talk about is enable digital technology and collect all that information in one place. No one wants to look through a whole stack of file folders. That's not efficient.
No, absolutely not. And one of the first key things that I want to talk about today with respect to efficiency is actually getting appointments booked. I find that a lot of contractors, they get leads, the leads come in, they might come in through an email, they might come in on a spreadsheet. One person might own leads that come in through the website. One person might own the leads that come in from Home Advisor, or maybe you have one appointment setter dealing with everything. But a lot of times these leads are all coming from different places, and you don't really have a centralized mechanism, so to speak, to actually go after those leads in an appropriate and consistent manner. A lot of times leads tend to slip through the cracks, and then also speed is a challenge too. There's some interesting data that came out about speed as it relates to, getting to leads and how that impacts the actual deal closing. And so if we go to the next slide, we can see that you're actually, we can just skip one. Thank you. You're 7 times more likely to set an appointment if you respond to a new lead in 1 hour versus 2 hours. And that's a study done from Harvard Business Review. I think it was like 200,000 folks that they sampled in that. So it's really interesting data here. The next key piece here is that you're actually 21 times more likely to close a deal if you respond in less than 5 minutes. So I'm curious, guys, how long does it take you guys to get back to new leads? Today, we're going to talk about some ways that we can help you guys get back to new leads fast and some templates that actually work to help you set appointments quickly. But I just launched a poll. Let me know how long it takes for you guys to get back to new leads. So I think the big piece here, guys, is that obviously like speed is king. If you aren't first, you're last, as Ricky Bobby says in Talladega Nights. But it's also the follow-up too. You can't just reach out to a lead once. You got to continue to follow up until they respond. So it looks like a lot of you guys are getting to leads within 5 minutes. I'm sure a lot of those folks are using perhaps an automated dialer system, or they have one person dedicated to going after those leads that are coming in. Looks like a lot of folks are getting to leads within an hour, and 33% are getting to leads same day. And the good thing is that everybody said that they get back to new leads. There's nobody here that says, I have no idea. So you guys have visibility in your business, and visibility is important as well. Awesome. So this is what I call a multi-touch follow-up. I mentioned earlier that, you can't just reach out to a lead once and set it and forget it. What has actually been interesting as I've dug into data from our contractors that use Hatch, we're a messaging app. When they use Hatch to set appointments and book those appointments, it's oftentimes taking 2 to 3 what we call touch points to actually get the appointment set. And so this is just an example here. On day 1, you send a text. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. This is actually working really well for contractors today. Hey, Matt, this is Josh with ABC General Contracting. I see here that you're looking to replace your roof. Do you have a few minutes to chat? And what's important here is that we're actually referencing the specific job type that the person's looking for, that you're looking to replace your roof. A lot of times people like to be generic. I see you reached out. Let's have a chat. You've got all the data that you're collecting in your web forms, or if you're using Angie's List or Home Advisor, all that data is there. So make sure you reference that. What's cool about Hatch is we have a tool that does this all for you. You can also send an email as well for those baby boomers that might prefer email. Same type of message, but in this case, ask them what time works best for a quick call. So in the text, we asked, do you have time right now? In the email, you ask what time works best because there's a little bit more of a delay in response there. And then, of course, you want to send a call and leave a voicemail. So that's touch 1, day 1. If you don't get a response on the first day, send a text the next day. And the text can be something as simple as, happy to provide a free quote virtually or in person. Which do you prefer? What I love about working with One Click Contractor is they've got an awesome virtual selling tool that allows you to actually run these appointments inside of their platform. So you could run all these virtual appointments using One Click, and you can, when you're having these conversations, say you're using like a Hatch to do this, you can, send a link to get that appointment going directly inside of Hatch. So ask them if they prefer the appointment virtually or in person. People are especially millennials, are more apt to want to do a virtual appointment, especially for, exterior and siding and roofing jobs. And then touch 3 on day 4, offer something like, 15% off. Still looking to replace your roof? Since we're about to head into the busy season, I'm authorized to provide a 15% discount if we can replace your roof by the end of the month. So using time as sort of the lever in your discounting strategy here can help elicit a response. And that offer that you have on the third text, it can be an offer that you guys already have on your website. That's totally cool. Just make sure you surface something to get the lead to respond, because you've already reached out twice and they haven't responded. So it's important to continue to follow up. And then, of course, touch 4 on the 7th day, a week after the lead comes in. We call it the breakup text. It's basically like, hey, are you still looking to replace your XYZ, your roof, your siding, et cetera? So that's what I call the breakup text. Maybe they'll respond and say, hey, I was just actually looking for more information. And if they respond and say, hey, I'm just looking for more information, this gives you a great opportunity to say, yeah, I actually have a pamphlet for you, or a digital, we call them an Ingage presentation, for example. You could send them something like this, an interactive presentation that talks about what you guys do. So it allows you to continue that conversation even if the lead isn't ready, and then you can always follow up with them later. So if we move on here, obviously multi-touch follow-up is absolutely important. If you can, if at all possible, automate it. So this is an example of Hatch. There's some other tools out there that can help you with this. Hatch is unique in the sense that we layer in text with email as well as voicemail. And so you can schedule it and say, hey, day 1, I want to send the text. Day 2, I want to send the voicemail. And then you basically set it and forget it. The lead comes in, everything happens, the follow-up all happens. And then when they respond, they get taken out of this, and you can handle the conversation directly in a Hatch inbox. So whatever you're using today, it's important that you set that follow-up. And when we talk about sales efficiency, speed is really king here. So a couple notes here is make sure you have somebody responsible for following up with inbound leads. You got to set responsibility. And then you also have to set what I call an SLA. It's service level agreement, where you say, hey, you're responsible to going after these leads within X amount of time. And I encourage folks to get to new leads within 5 minutes. So set expectations, set responsibility, and you'll be successful. Hatch, we happen to have a tool that automates all that. So if we go to the next slide here, I want to talk through how a company actually is doing this. They're using Hatch to do this, but regardless of what you're using, this is an effective approach, getting to leads fast. They were getting a lot of leads from HomeAdvisor, Modernize, like I'm sure many of you guys are. And they, as soon as they started incorporating that instant text, email, and voicemail, and then that continual follow-up, which was absolutely critical because they were actually setting appointments on average after 2 texts, not 1 text. So that continual follow-up was actually integral to their results, which happened to be $50,000 in additional sales per month. And then in terms of efficiency savings, 5 hours per week. So I've sat here giving you guys some examples about how you can be fast to leads, the results, 5 hours saved per week. I want you guys to actually experience for yourself. So everybody that's on the webinar, maybe you're looking at a different tab, maybe I don't know, hopefully you're staying tuned in here. I want you guys to text your name to 804-395-6006. So I'll give everybody about 30 seconds to text your name to this number, and you'll instantly receive a text back saying, hey, I got your information, and thanks for hopping on the webinar, something like that. It'll come from me. This is something that you should be implementing in your business. So imagine that this number is your phone number, or this number is your web form, or this number is your HomeAdvisor lead. Imagine you're able to get to those instantly. And Hatch, we've got a tool that can help you with this. I'm actually using Hatch to do this right now, so you can experience it for yourself. But yeah, text your name to this number, and I can actually have a conversation with you while we're on this webinar or after the webinar via text. So text your name. We'll give you guys another 10 seconds to this number, and then we'll move on to further on in the sales process. But guys, at the end of the day here, speed is everything, and don't forget to follow up and set responsibility. That's all I got to say.
Hey, Josh, I actually have a question from Eric, and I think this is a really good one before we move on to another part of our efficiency webinar. So Eric asked, I'm guessing that if they respond to a message in that automated Hatch sequence, that they don't get the next one, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Exactly. So if they respond to the text, they wouldn't get the other parts of the communication. Because you don't want to, if they responded to the text, it's clear that they want to communicate with you over text. Oh, thanks, Drew. Appreciate it. Cool. Good
awesome.
Question.
Well, thanks so much, Josh. There's just so much going on with the ways that you can automate and implement workflows to be able to make your lead management and your time to lead so much more effective. I want to jump in now and talk about how you can warm up your appointment so that you'll save time in the sales appointment itself. So you can actually communicate with your customer using visuals, using video, using a presentation prior to the appointment so that they can be prepared for what's coming. And you can save time at the beginning of the appointment with setting expectations and with getting everything in order for the actual sales appointment. So Ingage is a presentation software. We help companies to be able to create beautiful, professional, sleek presentations with interactivity, share them easily, and then measure the impact. And one of the ways that we do sharing is through a web link. And within a texting platform or within your CRM with email, you can actually email an Ingage presentation or text an Ingage presentation to the customer when they're setting that appointment. Within that presentation, you can introduce the sales rep so they know who to look for, who's going to be arriving at their home. They have all their contact information. They understand COVID protocols. So if you have a mask mandate or if you have sanitizing practices that you're going to be doing, you can let them know about that. Also, if you need the homeowner to clear out a space for your sales rep, you can put that in your presentation that you send to them before you get there. So if they need to clean out their bathroom so that your sales rep can get in there and measure, you can let them know that that's something they need to do before you get there. If they need to give you access to a crawl space before your rep gets to the appointment, you can let them know that as well. I mean, we've found that folks who use appointment warming are able to save about 15 minutes off the beginning of every appointment. And just imagine if every single rep is getting 15 minutes back from every single appointment, how many more appointments you're able to book in a week. It really just gives you time back. You've got if you have 4 appointments on a Saturday, that gets you an hour back for your rep to be able to do more effective follow-up or to be able to book another appointment. So this is a really cool technique that you can use that's kind of a newer thing on the market. And it can be any kind of presentations and visual communication. We just obviously really love Ingage, and you can see here in this video how Hatch and Ingage actually work together to provide that appointment warming within both platforms.
Yeah, I've seen this firsthand, folks. When you're using Ingage or using any type of presentation that you deliver to the homeowner as part of your appointment warming, when you send out appointment confirmations, it's just going to reduce those cancellations and save your reps so much time when they get to the appointment to set expectations. You're going to save your rep like 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then you're also going to just make sure that if somebody's going to cancel, they're going to at least text you back and say, hey, can we move to this time? And they're also going to be aware of all your products and your COVID protocols. So I can't speak enough about the success of actually sending a presentation using a tool like this as part of that appointment warming process.
So Josh, speaking of saving some more time, let's talk about virtual appointments. So one of the things that I think Pam mentioned earlier is the ability to have that option of a virtual appointment. And we're seeing people run at least 3 to 5 more appointments a day per rep when they're leveraging virtual appointments. And I'll share a case study with you in a little bit about a person that actually opened up a whole other office location because they no longer were driving to appointments. And so one of the things with virtual appointments, this really allows your reps to, as I said, run more appointments. So if they're saving that windshield time in between those different appointments, they're able to quickly shift from one appointment to the next. You're able to add more appointments per rep per day. You're also, as I alluded to, we have a customer who actually opened up a 4th office location, and he is in the Minnesota area where there is huge distances between those appointments. So you could be driving, 25 to 35 miles one way to go measure somebody's, roofing or siding. And how beautiful that would be is if you could just do that online, and then you would save yourself all of that drive time. And then increasing close rates. And I'm going to share next a staggering stat with you about consumer experience and how that kind of impacts close rate. So one of our very early adopters around virtual sales has kind of gained some traction over the last year or so due to COVID. But virtual sales has been a thing, and One Click Contractor has actually been doing virtual sales for about 6 years, which is kind of staggering. And we have one of our contractors who is a very early adopter with virtual sales. And after every appointment that he ran, regardless if he actually won the appointment or not, won the job or not, he would survey those customers and say, hey, I know this is kind of new in the space. Do you prefer a virtual appointment or do you prefer the traditional in-home appointment? And 96% of consumers said they preferred a virtual appointment. So saves you time, saves you money, your reps run more appointments, and your customers love it. So one of the things that we see and hear from our customers is, if I'm not able to sit next to my new rep, how am I actually going to get visibility into what is happening at the kitchen table? And this is one of the things that we heard from kind of people early on in COVID, especially, is, okay, I have this new junior rep. How do I help him to close deals? And the secret is in technology. So inside of the One Click Contractor platform, there is what we call Owner Secrets, or the History tab. And this is literally, as you can see on the screen, red and green boxes that tell you, did this rep show up on time? Did they start the appointment on time? Did they show the Engage presentation that you asked them to? Did they ask these questions? Did they show this brochure? Did they create a proposal? Did they email that proposal? Did they get a signature? And the other thing that this allows you to do is make every rep your best rep. So if you're understanding what's making Johnny, your number one rep, then you're able to kind of dig in and understand, why is Bobby not closing as many leads as Johnny, and kind of dissecting that. And then I know Pam is also going to share some Engage analytics specific to your presentations, because that is also a time efficiency saver as well.
Yeah, so within the Engage platform, like I mentioned, you get to create beautiful presentations and share them, but then there's a really important component of measuring, understanding what content your sales reps are presenting to the customer in the moment, how long they're spending on that information, and what they're clicking on. And so within the Engage platform, you're actually able to see for a given time series that information, and you can break it down by rep. You can check to see what device they were on. Were they on an iPad? Were they using the web version of the presentation? Were they on a desktop app? And you can export all of this data into a CSV and load it into an employee management tool. You have the ability to be able to save it. So it's just really impactful and lets you know if the investment that you've made in your presentation is paying off. And like Rachel mentioned, it helps you to make every rep your best rep. You can go in and see how long your best rep is spending on their sales presentation and be able to track that back to their performance and then help others to have similar performance. And analytics are available in so many different kinds of software, and they're often really underutilized. They give you hard data that separates it from the anecdotal data that your sales reps might tell you. They might tell you, oh, I didn't close that deal because they just weren't paying attention. But then you find out they only spent 5 minutes in the sales presentation. Clearly, there's a disconnect there. So the data and these analytics and all different kinds of software platforms just eliminates that anecdotal possibility and instead gives you hard information to be able to make better, more effective sales decisions.
So Pam, one other thing I've just thought about is a structured sales process. So both the Engage platform and the One Click Contractor platform encourage people to have a structured sales process. And I would value your thoughts around, people that are kind of making that transition, regardless of company size, to a digital sales process versus a physical sales process or paper sales process.
Yeah, so we get this question all the time because Engage is often replacing a physical pitch book, or we're replacing a photo slideshow, some kind of cobbled together way of presenting your work and the quality of the work that you've done for your customers. We come in and help you to create a presentation that really tells your company's story. But our goal is never to completely supplant the sales process that you have had that has been successful. Our customers have been in business sometimes for decades, and they have a really great loyal customer base. They've got amazing sales reps. They have deep roots within the community, and they have a step-by-step sales process that's been in place that they've been training to for years. Their reps know it cold. We do not want to come in and tell you, you can't follow your step-by-step sales process anymore. That's not the point. The point is that we want you to keep using that step-by-step sales process. Just make it more efficient by putting everything in one place in a digital platform. If you walk into an appointment and everything is on a single device, you take that iPad into the appointment or your laptop into the appointment, everything that you need for that customer is in one single place. It just makes your rep's job so much easier. It makes you appear more professional, and it's going to save you a lot of time rather than having to flip between different materials using different applications, different things. It just streamlines everything while maintaining your secret sauce, your special connection with the customer.
So, and once you've kind of established that connection with the customer, it doesn't matter if you're in person, sitting at the kitchen table with them, sitting on a back porch, sitting in a garage, or multiple hundreds or even thousands of miles away. We actually had a rep that told us that they had, as people are starting to travel again, we actually had a rep where both decision makers, both the husband and wife, were actually in different countries. So one was on an international business trip and the other one was in their home. And so this rep was actually able to connect both homeowners, multiple different time zones on the same appointment together and get to that purchase decision. And so by following your process, and sticking to your guns when it comes to what your process is, it helps to streamline everything. And then you're able to get amazing results, which is what Pam has on the screen now. So these are some mini case studies and pull quotes from some of our customers where by streamlining their sales process and going digital, they were able to add points to their gross profit. They were able to open new offices. They were able to increase close rates. We have a gentleman who was able to sell $3 million with a single rep because he decided to go digital and he decided to move a sales process and be more efficient with his time. And then we'll talk about also about how some of our companies have saved thousands of dollars in over and under estimating and 7 to 10 hours in admin time, which is precious time, because they were able to make their sales process more efficient. So let's dig into some of these because these are fun. I think this is where the rubber meets the road. So close rates can actually improve without being face-to-face. I will repeat that again. For all of the people that you have not tried virtual appointments, please do, because if you know anything about the Window Depot network, Nate Titcher is one of the, and Window Depot of Milwaukee is one of their like all-stars. And Nate had a pretty good close rate. I think he said it was around 35 to 40%. He was able to get 10 to 15% more on his close rate because he decided to leverage digital appointments. Huge, huge, huge advantage. The other thing that we've seen with kind of is a practice around what we call digital distance selling techniques. And so this is really just simple. Meet your customer where they are. If your customer is like, hey, I don't really feel comfortable with you being in my home, you could still sell to them. If your customer wants to sit next to you and share the same iPad as you wearing a mask, that's cool too. If your customer wants to be on the phone with you while you're standing outside their house, that's also cool. If your customer wants to come out and check out sample colors of a shingle or a cabinet, we can also support you there too. And so the big point here is having the same platform. So because all three of our companies have technology that's enabled, you can sell from anywhere. You can sell from your car. You can sell from the kitchen table. You can sell from, the garage. You can sell wherever you want to be. But the big thing is you don't actually have to be face to face anymore. And people are seeing dramatic increases in their close rate. So I could go on and on about this. This is something I'm super passionate about. I love seeing hearing the stories from our customers like, wow, I actually tried that virtual selling thing and I actually closed the job and it cost me, a lot less money. That's amazing feedback for us. So I get a little carried away when I talk about close rates. Let's move on to time saving and efficiency in the sales process. So another one I really, really like. We know that estimation and errors in estimation cost you big time. Any contractor who has mislabeled a window or shorted themselves on the number of shingles or, gotten that extra piece of siding just because, that is costing you money. And then if you're short, you have to rush it and that also costs you money. So what if I told you by utilizing digital technology, you could create a perfect quote every single time, and you don't have to be a trade expert. And so instead of fat fingering, a button or a number in an estimate, you could get it perfect 100% of the time. And that's one of the other time-saving things is you don't have to go back to your supplier and get more, of that product. You don't have to be on the phone and talk to your distributor, again, to get more product. Or you have a bunch of products sitting in your warehouse that it's just on your books and you can't get rid of it. So we have a customer, John Broche from Meredith Home Improvement, who he told us that he saved thousands of dollars And this was in about a 6-month period by utilizing technology. So he was not underestimating. So he wasn't having leftover product that wasn't built into his spoilage numbers, or, he didn't have to call up his supplier and say, hey, I need another pallet of roofing shingles. That's just money and time that you don't need to spend. And then the other part of it is on the admin time. So when you create an estimate that's digital, it's visible to everybody that it needs to be within the organization. So then your production team can take that finished quote and they can just push it down the line. They don't need to jump in, look through file folders. The other thing is, when you have a digital contract, you don't have to transcribe your rep's chicken scratch. I have seen some reps' handwriting that's as bad as doctors. And so that can also lead to over or underestimating as well. And so, by utilizing technology, it drives your costs down and your efficiency up. And then last little case study I want to share is about no more cobbled together software solutions. So at the very beginning of COVID, people did what they needed to do to get the job done. And so they had their PowerPoint pulled up, and they had, their phone ready for messaging, and they had their email pulled up, and they had their, Excel spreadsheet for estimating as well. And they're ready to go, and they had their Zoom account. And it didn't make you look good. We have a fun little graphic that we utilize a lot of times, and it is you can imagine, it's like a pieced together truck. So there's like multiple colors of doors, and it looks like a hot mess. And our analogy is, you would never pull up to somebody's front door in a truck that looked like that. And when you piece together a technology solution and your systems are not integrated, it makes you look like you are a cobbled together mess. And so by leveraging technology, all 3 of our systems all talk to each other. So you can leverage Hatch, you can leverage Ingage, you can leverage One Click Contractor, and it's like one beautiful, seamless process to your customer. And that's kind of the message that we wanted to leave you guys with today around efficiency, is have it all in one place, and then make sure, and that actually leads to business results. And then you want to make sure that all of your systems talk together, and all of that's in the back end. So when you're up in front of people and you're presenting and you're putting on your show, you are looking the best that you can. And one last case study I'm going to share this one specifically for David, is we have a gentleman, he is a one-man band, and he said by getting off of paper and actually leveraging a digital system, he was able to sell 30% more business, because he wasn't hunting around for that contract that he had created last month or somebody's measurement. So it doesn't matter if you're a tiny organization with one person and you do everything, or you are part of a chain, or you have 10 reps in a single location. You can leverage these tools that we talked about. So now I'm going to hand it over to Josh to talk about rehash.
Thanks, Rachel, and good insights here as we step through the sales process. So we've talked through how to actually set the appointment, warm the appointment with speed and with a good presentation. We've talked about how to make your sales process more efficient, have everything in one place. Now let's talk about something that I think a lot of contractors aren't doing a good job at. And admittedly, we surveyed a little over 300 contractors, and 79% of them said we need help selling to leads that did not buy during the initial appointment. And so that's really, for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, most of you guys are, I'm sure, rehash is selling to unsold leads that you quoted but didn't buy. And what we're finding is that if you actually implement a strategy and a process in your business for rehash, you have somebody that owns rehash, maybe that's your appointment setter, they double up with rehash as well as, doing the appointment setting. You have templates in place, text, email, call templates that you can use as a follow-up to that quote. If you have those things in place here, you can increase your close rate 7 to 10%. Folks that are using our product to do rehash, put that on autopilot, are seeing anywhere from a 7 to 10% increase in close rates. So I like to say, if you implement a process, you're going to see that increase. So those are some interesting stats here. And if we keep coming along, there's what we found is really 3 key steps here. First, identify the leads that are still interested, the leads that you quoted but didn't buy. So it's important to have a CRM status in place that says these are leads that you quoted but didn't buy. I work with a lot of contractors that don't have that. They just say they didn't sell. It's important to have a status for people that you quoted but didn't buy during the initial appointment. So that way you're able to reference that and then deliver the communication to that homeowner to rehash that lead there. The second piece here is, in terms of how to create this winning rehash program, is have everything in one place. We've been talking about that for a while. Having information on the homeowner, everything that they submitted from the time that they submitted their information on the web form all the way to the appointment, everything, their measurements, so you have something to quickly reference. Because what's going to happen is, if you have a rehash program in place where you're texting, you're calling, you're emailing the homeowner, you get a response, they're going to have quick fire questions about the quote that you provided them. And sometimes they might not have even provided a quote, right? A lot of times we find that the reps sometimes forget to provide the darn quote. And it sounds crazy, but I've seen it. So it's important to have everything in one place so you can reference it quick, so you can text that homeowner back. And then the third piece here, guys, is the right message. Hatch, we've got a lot of templates on our website. Feel free to go to usehatchapp.com. We've got a whole blog where we have templates available to you for free. So just go on over there, copy paste this text, email templates, implement them in your rehash process. But really, this is kind of the end of the sales process here is the rehash standpoint, because these are leads that you quoted but didn't end up selling. And I know, Rachel, you've got some good insights into rehash. We've done a couple webinars already on rehash, so good stuff here.
Yeah, it's kind of fun that these 3 companies, we've all done a lot of, provided a lot of content to the industry about certain subjects. So, and rehash is one that we have worked with Hatch a lot, because it's I think a unique differentiator that both companies are able to provide to contractors. So we want to boil rehash and some of these processes down to make it, like, as Josh said, stupid easy. So the first one is pull all your unsold jobs from your CRM system or One Click. So understand who's the audience that you're actually going after. The second one is segment them. So as Josh said, not that they just didn't sell, but why? Why didn't they sell? Was it bad timing? Was it lack of funds? Was the fact that at that time you didn't offer financing? Was it that materials weren't available? What was the reason? And segment off of that. And then launch your Hatch campaign and use that multi-step process that Josh showed at the beginning and automate it. I'll add like a third or a bullet point off of 3 is automate that process and make it really easy. And then just watch your funds come in, because when you have a well kind of oiled rehash process, you just kind of like watch those funds come in, and that's fun to sell more jobs. And then I want to go back to something that we talked about kind of at the very beginning. We talked about data. So when you get that lead into your, it comes into your system, make notes. Whoever's collecting that lead, all of that information that happens at the beginning of your relationship with that lead, you can utilize that for rehash. If you put it in your system, you can utilize that for rehash. So here are some things that we suggest you collecting in your digital job folder: the actual proposal or the agreement, the presentation, the detailed estimate, any job notes. What did the customer actually tell you? What did you see on the property if we actually went out and gathered job scope? Did you take any photos? What did you notate on those photos? What do those look like? And then measurements. You could store all of that in one place, and that makes it really easy for you to actually kind of like jump on your rehash process. You don't have to do any data collecting to get your rehash process ready. You can jump to that step 1 that was in that previous slide and just get moving.
So rehash. Let's just walk real quick how to create this whole process. So as soon as somebody gets marked in your CRM, or if you're using One Click Contractor, you mark them as sit no sale or demo no sale. Make sure you have that status in place and that your reps are trained to use that status, and that you have somebody responsible for actually going after these rehash sales. So launch your communication strategy results in a sit no sale. We talked about familiarizing yourself with their information, the quote that you provided them, and then eventually, maybe you need to reset the appointment, have that new appointment. And oftentimes when you reset an appointment, doing it virtually, if you did it in home at the first time, you can totally do it virtually again. You've already been to the home, you've done the measurements, you've done all the work. You really just need to be face-to-face with the homeowner again. You can do that virtually. We've seen a lot of folks using Hatch to do resets, sending out all those automated communications for rehash. And then the homeowner's like, I need to talk it over. Can we have one more call or one more appointment or something like that? You can do that virtually. So I encourage you guys to leverage virtual appointments. And then, of course, collect that money. That's super important.
Show me the money.
Yep. So we've hopefully shared with you guys some good insights today on where you guys can optimize some parts of your sales process with and without our technologies. Obviously, like selfishly, we'd love for you guys to use our tools. We wouldn't be here today if folks weren't seeing a significant amount of success from leveraging these technologies in their business. So if you're interested in learning more about us, feel free to indicate so, and we'll reach out, see if it might be a good fit for you guys. And for those of you who actually didn't have a chance to see that like instant text, feel free to go to the chat here and text your name to that number. You'll experience that instant text, and we'll be able to follow up with you. So let us know if you're interested in learning more. Now's a good time also for Q&A. We've had a lot of really good conversations inside of the chat already. Folks talking about rehash, folks talking about doing measurements. There was a question that came up that was interesting. This is for you, Rachel. Is One Click Contractor going to replace my CRM?
Oh, I love this question, Josh. The answer is no. But it could. So if you have an existing CRM, One Click Contractor will not replace your CRM system. They work together. If you don't have a CRM, if you're a one-man band or you have a smaller organization and you do not have a CRM, we say that we offer CRM Lite functionality. So some of the screens that we showed, you can store all your customer information in there, your statuses, etc. You can trigger off that for Hatch to drop people into a Hatch sequence, etc. So yes and no. I don't know if that's a good answer to that question.
That makes sense. If folks have had a CRM for the last 10, 15, maybe they're using Market Sharp or Improve It 360, and they don't want to leave that, they can still use your tool, and your tool talks to it. So it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I'm going to answer a question from Jim, if you're okay with it. As I was going through the presentation about creating estimates, he asked, are you using Hover or something else? And the answer to that is One Click Contractor is actually measurement tool agnostic. So we have built many, many integrations with measurement tools, specifically the big ones that you can think about: Eagle View, Hover, Sky Measure, Scope Technologies, etc. That just is instant. And the beauty is, with your efficiency, you literally go order, click, and then it populates your measurement tab. It's just a beautiful thing. The other cool thing is, if you do any research about One Click Contractor, our CEO and our dev team actually came from some of the measurement teams that I just talked about. And so we actually have built-in free measurement tools that you could utilize. So you can measure roofing, siding, windows, doors. We have a pretty sweet windows tool, decking, fencing. And so if you'd like to talk to me more about that, I can actually show you that.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. Pam, this question's for you that just popped up in the Q&A. How are people using presentations in the home? I don't know. That's an interesting question. I'm not sure how you might want to take that. But I think maybe if we kind of tune it into like, how are people actually, are they sitting at the table? Or are they sharing it with the homeowner afterwards? Like how are they using these virtual sales presentations?
So very much a yes and situation. This is going to be like improv class. I have arts degrees. I'm a performer. Yes, and you can use a presentation in pretty much any way in the home or virtually or for prep or for follow-up. I would say 90% of our customers use their sales presentation to tell their company story, to talk about the remodel process, setting expectations. Like we mentioned at the top of this webinar, there are a lot of millennials out there buying homes. I don't know about you, but as a millennial myself, I've never hired a remodeler. I've never had to, hire somebody to come in and replace my roof or to redo my bathroom. I would have a lot of questions about what that process looks like and understanding, how long am I going to be without my bathroom? What are the steps that you're going to take? Is it going to be okay for me to have my pets near the materials that you're using? These are really important questions that our customers cover when they're discussing the remodel process. We're also seeing a lot of our manufacturing customers providing product catalogs using Ingage. So they will actually provide a product catalog of their latest products, understanding the materials that are being used, the colors, the availability, and they provide that as a resource for their contractors or for their remodelers. So that is another use case, is as a product catalog. It's so easy to update Ingage presentations. You go in, you just swap out a picture or change a piece of text, and you push it out, and instantly everybody who's using that presentation has the latest version. So it is great for product catalogs. A newer application that we're seeing is that people are using it as kind of a brochure after the appointment as well. So, maybe you don't close the job, but the customer says they just need some more time to think about it. You can leave them with an Ingage link. Saves you money on having to print materials. Also, considering that some of these appointments are happening virtually, saves you money on having to go do a drop off or having to mail something to the customer. Just provides you with easy access to them. So the world is your oyster with digital presentations. It really gives you a lot of flexibility.
I love it. And what's cool, Pam, is so we're gonna send this presentation out after this webinar to all of you guys. While I still have a few, so I guess there's a bunch of folks still on the webinar here. This is awesome. So we're going to send this to you guys after the webinar, and you're actually going to be able to interact with it. And so just pretend that this presentation that we presented today is your sales presentation for in the home. I can't speak of Ingage high enough. It's an incredible tool. One Click, awesome tool that we work really well with. So I want to thank everybody for hopping on here. This is going to be, sent to you guys as a recording as well as the presentation, like I mentioned before. Do you have any closing remarks, Pam? Any final thoughts? I know you got a special offer for all the attendees here.
Yeah, we do. I'm just really glad to be here. Hatch and One Click Contractor are such great partners to us because we do live in this digital landscape, and we do provide our customers the ability to be able to work out of a single platform. You can actually embed the web version of your presentation into your One Click Contractor. So for folks who are nervous about making that transition to digital, or for people who want to just have one app, they want one place to go that has everything they need. It just makes it really simple to be able to use all of our software together. And this is just a great team. We're a great crew of people. But yeah, I did want to let everybody know we do have a special offer for attendees of this webinar. You get 2 free months of Ingage added on to any annual contract. So it's 14 months for the price of 12. Doesn't matter how many seats you're purchasing, how many licenses, you'll get those 2 free months added on.
Yeah, we've got a special offer. Mention this webinar when you talk to somebody at Hatch and get 50% off any month that you want. It could be during a time you have a lower cash flow and when it's dead. Could be the first month, whatever you guys want. Just pick the month. We'll give you 50% off.
Awesome. And last fun offer for our webinar attendees. So this is a tongue twister. So so our program is called 3 and Free. So you get free seats for 3 months. and we're able to split your onboarding costs into 3 monthly payments. And so this is for, if you're an existing customer of One Click Contractor, this is for any new seats. And if you're a net new customer for One Click Contractor, this could be new seats as well as your onboarding payment. So I just want to thank Josh and Pam. This was like super fun, and we hope that we got 2 thumbs up from Josh. Hope that our attendees thought that this was informative, and we really appreciate you spending your afternoon with us. And we hope that you took a few nuggets away that you'll be able to apply to your business, and hope that this next busy season for you is fruitful and efficient.
Yes, definitely. We want to see that continued growth.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much. Our information is right here. We'll send out the presentation after this webinar. Thanks, everybody, for hopping on. And thank you, Pam. Thank you, Rachel. You guys are absolute rock stars. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.